there are only pear trees and rose bushes about one. I dare say you, like me, monsieur, are sometimes tired of being eternally in the midst of life, of having human faces always round you, human eyes always upon you, human voices always in your ear. I am sure I often wish intensely for liberty to spend a whole month in the country, at some little farmhouse, bien gentille, bien propre, tout entouré de champs et de bois. Quelle vie charmante que la vie champêtre, n'est-ce pas, monsieur? Cela dépend, mademoiselle. Que le vent est bon et frais, continued the directress. And she was right there, for it was a south wind, soft and sweet. I carried my hat in my hand, and this gentle breeze passing through my hair soothed my temples like balm. Its refreshing effect, however, penetrated no deeper than the mere surface of the frame, for as I walked by the side of Mademoiselle Reuter, my heart was still hot within me, and while I was musing, the fire burned. Then spake I with my tongue. I understand Mademoiselle Henri is gone from hence, and will not return. Ah, true. I meant to have named the subject to you some days ago, but my time is so completely taken up, I cannot do half the things I wish. Have you never experienced what it is, monsieur, to find the day too short by 12 hours for your numerous duties? Not often. Mademoiselle Henri's departure was not voluntary, I presume. If it had been, she would certainly have given me some intimation of it, being my pupil. Oh, did she not tell you? That was strange. For my part, I never thought of adverting to the subject. When one has so many things to attend to, one is apt to forget little incidents that are not of primary importance. You consider Mademoiselle Henri's dismission, then, as a very insignificant event? Dismission? Ah, she was not dismissed. I can say with truth, monsieur, that since I became the head of this establishment, no master or teacher has ever been dismissed from it. Yet some have left it, mademoiselle. Many. I have found it necessary to change frequently. A change of instructors is often beneficial to the interests of a school. It gives life and variety to the proceedings. It amuses the pupils and suggests to the parents the idea of exertion and progress. Yet when you are tired of a professor or maîtresse, you scruple to dismiss them? No need to have recourse to such extreme measures, I assure you. Allons, monsieur le professeur, asseyons-nous. Je vais vous donner une petite leçon dans votre état d'instituteur. I wish I might write all she said to me in French. It loses sadly by being translated into English. We had now reached the garden chair. The directress sat down, and signed to me to sit by her. But I only rested my knee on the seat, and stood leaning my head and arm against the embowering branch of a huge laburnum, whose golden flowers, blent with the dusky green leaves of a lilac bush, formed a mixed arch of shade and sunshine over the retreat. Mademoiselle Reuter sat silent a moment. Some novel movements were evidently working in her mind, and they showed their nature on her astute brow. She was meditating some chef d'oeuvre of policy. Convinced by several months' experience that the affectation of virtues she did not possess was unavailing to ensnare me, aware that I had read her real nature, and would believe nothing of the character she gave out as being hers, she had determined at last to try a new key, and see if the lock of my heart would yield to that. A little audacity, a word of truth, a glimpse of the real. Yes, I will try, was her inward resolve. And then her blue eye glittered upon me. It did not flash. Nothing of flame ever kindled its temperate gleam. Monsieur fears to sit by me? She inquired playfully. I have no wish to usurp Pelet's place, I answered, for I had got the habit of speaking to her bluntly. a habit begun in anger, but continued because I saw that, instead of offending, it fascinated her. She cast down her eyes and drooped her eyelids. She sighed uneasily. She turned with an anxious gesture, as if she would give me the idea of a bird that flutters in its cage, and would fain fly from its jail and jailer, and seek its natural mate and pleasant nest. "Well, and your lesson?" I demanded briefly. "Ah!" she exclaimed, recovering herself. "You are so young, so frank and fearless, so talented, so impatient of imbecility, so disdainful of vulgarity. You need a lesson. Here it is, then. Far more is to be done in this world by dexterity than by strength. But perhaps you knew that before, for there is delicacy as well as power in your character, policy as well as pride." "Go on," said I, and I could hardly help smiling, the flattery was so piquant, so finely seasoned. She caught the prohibited smile, though I passed my hand over my mouth to conceal it, and again she made room for me to sit beside her. I shook my head, though temptation penetrated to my senses at the moment, and once more I told her to go on. "Well, then, if ever you are at the head of a large establishment, dismiss nobody. To speak truth, monsieur, and to you I will speak truth, I despise people who are always making rows, blustering, sending off one to the right and another to the left, urging and hurrying circumstances. I'll tell you what I like best to do, monsieur, shall I?" She looked up again. She had compounded her glance well this time. Much archness, more deference, a spicy dash of coquetry, an unveiled consciousness of capacity. I nodded. She treated me like the Great Mogul, so I became the Great Mogul as far as she was concerned. "I like, monsieur, to take my knitting in my hands and to sit quietly down in my chair. Circumstances defile past me, I watch their march. So long as they follow the course I wish, I say nothing and do nothing. I don't clap my hands and cry out, 'Bravo! How lucky I am!' to attract the attention and envy of my neighbours. I am merely passive. But when events fall out ill, when circumstances become adverse, I watch very vigilantly. I knit on still, and still I hold my tongue. But every now and then, monsieur, I just put my toe out, so, and give the rebellious circumstance a little secret push, without noise, which sends it the way I wish, and I am successful after all, and nobody has seen my expedient. So when teachers or masters become troublesome and inefficient, when, in short, the interests of the school would suffer from their retaining their places, I mind my knitting, events progress, circumstances glide past. I see one, if pushed ever so little awry, will render untenable the post I wish to have vacated. The deed is done, the stumbling block removed, and no one saw me. I have not made an enemy, I am rid of an encumbrance." A moment since, and I thought her alluring. This speech concluded, I looked on her with distaste. "Just like you," was my cold answer. "And in this way you have ousted Mademoiselle Henri? You wanted her office, therefore you rendered it intolerable to her." "Not at all, monsieur. I was merely anxious about Mademoiselle Henri's health. No, your moral sight is clear and piercing, but there you have failed to discover the truth. I have always taken a real interest in Mademoiselle Henri's welfare. I did not like her going out in all weathers. I thought it would be more advantageous for her to obtain a permanent situation. Besides, I consider her now qualified to do something more than teach sewing. I reasoned with her, left the decision to herself.